Okay, welcome back to the Innsmouth case. We got an ending last time where we got the ETH ending. We met the ETH. So let's see what kind of ending we can get this time. So we are at the harbor again. Yeah. Let's see. We went to the church and the lighthouse, so let's go to the beach. Hello? Oh, yeah, that's right. To the beach. The beach, the screeching of seagulls, an endless white, well, brown, okay, fine, gray beach, and the sounds of the waves. Clean, well, potentially clean water. The algae are way too dense to really tell. You walk on the sand and move a little closer to the waterline, curious about what you might discover there. Although the sea is not stormy and the tide is low, Innsmouth Beach is not really a touristy place. Everything is simply too grey. This is what you associate with a real vacation. Sea. The sea. On the horizon, the ocean looks limitless. The rhythm of the waves is hypnotic. Spending time here is much better than visiting the dive bar next door. In the future, you should make day trips to run down coastal villages more. Lost in thought, you keep wandering over the dunes. You notice how all the colors of the sea and the beach seems to be swallowed up by the strange light conditions here. You hold your hand up in front of your face. Your skin looks gray and matte, but still you feel relaxed. The murmur of the sea invigorates you. You feel a deep sense of longing within you, a serene sense of inner peace and freedom, until the techno music starts. A monotonous beat. The sound seems to come directly from the beach bar a few hundred yards off in the distance, which appears to be surrounded by about a dozen people. Given the changing weather, it's perhaps no surprise. What else is one supposed to do on the beach apart from drink cheap cocktails and dancing to bad music? Something strange grabs your attention. A kind of cage standing in the shallow water, perhaps 12 feet wide and deep. Go to the cage. Thanks to the low tide, you are able to get close to the strange object. The sea has retreated into the distance, and so the cage stands there, looking strangely lost. As you approach it, you take off your shoes and socks and turn your trouser legs up a little. Finally, you stand in front of the cage. There is a visible line on the cage about 3 feet from the ground. The metal on top half still looks quite stable. The bottom half must normally be submerged in water. Slimy black algae winds around the metal rods. Ooh. What's strange to you is the size of the cage. Seriously, what are they trying to catch? Giant lobsters or tourists? You chuckle. A tourist trap. That's all you find here. You linger for a bit, then walk back to the sandy part of the beach. The cries of the seagulls are increasingly drowned out by early 90s techno beats. One note, that's all some people need to enjoy themselves. One note in an endless loop. Yeah, I'm not into techno. The owner of the beach bar has taken great pains to make up for some of Innsmouth's deficits. The bar is made from wooden planks and features a nice countertop and an exotic canopy made from palm trees. Admittedly, the palm trees are no longer green. They're gray and dried out, just as if a demon had sucked the life force out of them. But it's easy to imagine that all this must have looked quite pretty once. The bar is flanked by wooden bar stools, and a few meters away towards the ocean, 2 rows of deck chairs have been put up so that people can get drunk while laying down. From a distance the bar looked busy, but now, as you arrive, you realize that the party is already over, if it ever did take place. A dozen people hang out here. A few surfer dudes stagger about like zombies. Some of them carry empty cocktail glasses around. Some of them yell, "Party!" and "Woohoo!" enthusiastically. Precisely this kind of people. A guy with long hair and sunglasses nods his head in time to the techno beat and taps along on the bar counter with his flat hand. There's no bar staff in sight. One of the tourist families you had spotted on the way here has spread out on the deck chairs. They're evidently trying to keep away from the party. You follow an instinct and sit down at the bar. This place reminds you of your favorite bar in Boston, only that here there's sand on the ground instead of vomit. You feel at home. Some hippie is poking at the slushy fruit. Slushy fruit remains in his cocktail glass with a straw. He nods over to you as you sit down. Where's the bartender? He stops poking the fruit in his glass around and pushes his bandana into place. Dunno. Things were really happening, you get me? Then Zeke took off about an hour ago. And since then, no booze. He sighs. It's the kind of sigh that you might hear from a war veteran. Why would someone simply leave a busy beach bar, a bar with an unattended supply of alcohol? Something's not right. It can't hurt to just rest for a moment. It means you'll be able to resume your mission full of energy, or whatever. Most of the chairs are free. All offer excellent views of the seas and the increasingly cloudy horizon. You're spoilt for choice. Why not? Maybe you'll be able to learn their language if you spend more time around them. It's one of the families you've already noticed a few times today. Happily chatting parents who are constantly eating and their chronically bad-tempered children. The four are hard to miss with their loud chatter and tasteless tourist outfits. They've settled down on the deck chairs, sipping on some soft drinks. You clear your throat, the international sign for, "Hello there, I would like to say something." I'm looking for this girl, you say, and show them the photo of Tabitha. The parents bend forward and squint in order to see the little face better. Nope, sorry, the father says, and goes back to sipping his fruit juice. Nope, me neither, the wife says. Nothing then. Do you know what the cages are for? That strange frame alone in the water, in the middle of nowhere, you have to keep thinking about it. Do you know what these cages are for? You ask the parents. Oh, those, the father's face lights up. We've just taken some photos of them. I think they're for children to climb on. I don't think so. It's a cage. They're not meant for children, his wife chips in. That's how people here catch lobster and whales and things like that. Bullshit, the son murmurs. He pokes the sand with a wooden branch, probably imagining he's stabbing someone. They're from the Middle Ages, and people were put in there to drown. Oh, great. Nothing, to hell with them. Who are you kidding? You decide to lean into your antisocial side. You get comfortable on the deck chair. The incoherent chatter of the family remains merely a static noise in the background. Not too shabby. The dark clouds drawing together on the horizon worry you a little, but they're far away enough for you to simply enjoy this moment on a beach. Technically, you've been near the beach the whole time, but you couldn't really switch off. There was a haunting sense of danger, a feeling of paranoia that you simply couldn't shake off. Luckily, the paranoia has now gone. A cool sea breeze caresses your face as you tune out of the other tourists' annoying conversations. You listen to the murmur of the waves. The regular to and fro of the sea has a soothing effect on you. Your eyes fall shut. It's cold, you're freezing, which is annoying because you had settled down quite comfortably on one of the deck chairs. You could swear you noticed a shadow while half asleep. There was a figure who tried to grab you and carry you away. Was that all a dream? A chilly wind blows on your face. Oh, damn it, this case is going to be the death of you. You simply lie there as if dead. Your attempts to return to a more comfortable position are punished by a stabbing pain in your behind. Some bit from the chair is digging into you. Probably a cheap model. Damn tight asses, you mutter weakly and push yourself into an upright position. The sun has now set and all other holiday makers have gone. Instead of freezing their asses off, they're probably sitting in a warm hotel by now. The moon illuminates the beach and the waves shimmer in its airy green glow. Green? Nature is fascinating. You stretch your tense neck when you notice some lights off in the distance. Night has fallen, and with each passing minute it seems to get chillier. The light appears to be moving and are leading away from the town. You wonder whether you should take a closer look at the spectacle or go to your warm hotel. Of course we're gonna follow the lights. Why not? The day is almost over anyway. Maybe you can at least manage to figure out what the lights in the distance are all about. You trudge through the sand. Then you notice that the lights you were heading towards are moving. They do not stand still but twitch back and forth. Hang on a moment. You're on a beach. It's night. Weird blinking lights? This is clearly... I would say rave? A rave, that makes sense. The only question is whether you'll join the party or not. Sure. Strange staccato movements and colorful glow sticks. You have always been a fan of things that move quickly and emit lights, just like most cats. That's why rave parties have always fascinated you. You hurry along. You arrive somewhat indecisively. You stand on a sand dune and take in the spectacle. There are 20, maybe 30 people who have gathered here on the beach close to the waves. You can see that they are naked under the rags and nets that they are wearing on their bodies. Oh, maybe not a rave. Maybe it is a sex cult. They are performing a sensual and seemingly uncontrolled dance while waving glow sticks in the air. The masks that people are wearing seem familiar from film and television. Distorted faces with angry mouths and ugly goggle eyes reminds you a little of voodoo, but here on the coast of New England? You are not quite sure anymore whether you are at a rave party or actually an exotic fertility ritual. The acoustics are bad. Instead of the clear techno beat, the people are here rely on singing. They could do with rehearsing though. Without any sense of rhythm, the people are chanting the same refrain over and over again. Ia ia Cthulhu Fazang. You make yourself comfortable on the cool sand of the dune. A good decision. You have a perfect view of the dancers. A bizarre spectacle all in all. And exotic. You didn't think that a dump like Innsmouth would put on performances like these. The men and women stretch their bodies into impossible shapes and keep singing their admittedly somewhat monotonous song. For minutes on end they run around in circles on the sand. The ground is marked with glowing green spray paint. The people keep brushing against each other. Some of them are really going for it and have started licking each other. Ooh. That means you join in. The whole point of holiday is doing crazy things you normally wouldn't, and besides, nobody here knows you. You sneak up to the group of dancers and attempt to seamlessly blend into the chaotic spectacle. You are lucky. In the midst of the rags that most people are wearing here, your detective outfit doesn't particularly stand out. You're just another freak among many. You get swept up in the ecstasy of the dance. Your thighs tremble and your arms wriggle about. You throw back your head and join the loud chanting. Yeah, yeah, solly frogs. You enthusiastically imitate the chants. Yeah, that's definitely not what they were singing, but sure. A few glow sticks have been dropped during the dance and lie abandoned in the sand. When you bend down to pick up one of them, you realize that they are not disposable glow sticks at all. They're algae. Glowing algae? You keep dancing cheerfully. Past the bizarre masks with swollen eyes, which up close look much more threatening. Bit scary. From a distance, this horror part of the show would have completely escaped you. The party seems to be shifting on to the next phase. The dancers have now stopped their ecstatic movements and stand still with their outstretched arms facing the ocean. Silence, complete silence apart from the monotonous murmur of the waves. Then you can make out another sound. A strange hissing. Another group of amateur actors joins the dancers. Whoa! Fish people! They come straight out of the water and wear costumes more suitable for Halloween than a rave party. Greenish scales cover their costumes, or is it professional makeup? The scaly skin costumes look super real. The muscular, clumsy, and much too long arms end in a set of lifelike claws. The heads are a mixture of dumb-looking fish and a deadly grizzly. Whoever came up with this mask seriously needs to see a therapist. When the first masked creature reached the group of dancers, you realize that these guys must have seriously trained for this gig. All of them have bodies you can only get through years of hard physical training and guzzling down loads of steroids. They're also stark naked. You tilt your head involuntarily. Some things on bodies are quite difficult to replicate even with paper mache or plastic mold. You know this from your own Halloween craft endeavors. Why have you made penises out of for Halloween? That's weird. It is even more difficult to make these things move and react authentically. It takes a lot of willpower to tear your eyes away from this sight. The dance group seems to welcome the newcomers warmly. They mingle. Each of the costumed giants seems to know exactly with whom they want to spend the evening. It does not take long, and every party guest is paired up with one of the fish creatures. Oh, so they're making half fish, half people babies. You stand a little off to the side and watch as they explore each other's bodies. Then they start to... Whoa! Okay, this part is definitely X-rated. A brave choice for a tourist entertainment program. While you're still gasping for air indignantly, the couples are already rolling in sand, groaning with pleasure. Oh, this is X-rated. Yup. Only one of the costume giant has not yet found a partner. His milky eyes fall on you. Uh-oh. He stalks over to you on his long legs. With one of his claws, he points at you, then at himself. Why is he acting like a puppy? Oh, hell. Oh, okay. Why the hell not? Get over here. You say and open your arms. That follows. What follows is private and definitely not rated R. You are fascinated, no thrilled with the fish mutant costume. The things you like best are... I'm so sorry. Oh, sure, the full lips and long tongue. The bulging lips of the costume taste of salt and makes you very thirsty. It could, of course, also be due to the fact that you're sweating and rolling around in the sand with this man. His long, thin tongue explores the inside of your mouth. All of a sudden, I'm reading smut. It touches the back of your throat and briefly causes you to gag, which almost ruins your sensual foreplay. Slept with a fish creature. That was wild. When the deed is done, you lie on the cool sand in your partner's enveloping embrace. All around you, the other couples do the same. Together, you look up at the green hue of the starry sky. No words are needed. The man in the fish costume only makes hissing and bleeding sounds, but you have a deeper connection. This is rare. You feel at ease, but for the first time in your life, time flies much too fast. The rave party is over. Most of the dancers from Innsmouth start walking back towards the harbor on shaky legs. How are you gonna end up pregnant? I don't know how this works with the fish creature. And so your parting is near too. You try to give him your phone number, but he plays dumb. He snarls and shuffles towards the ocean. Just when you think you have found someone with whom you can live out your animal instincts, that person decides to wordlessly disappear into the sea. Typical. This took a turn. You watch thoughtfully as his head disappears between the waves. You're not 100% sure if you used this day to the fullest. Considering the reason you actually came here. Neither are you sure who the guy and his friends were and why they showed up in costume to an orgy, and while some other things also remain unclear. With a sigh, you pat the sand off your clothes and make your way to the hotel. Oh, God. Tears in my eyes from laughing. Darkness has befallen Innsmouth. Old-fashioned gas lights illuminate a few patches along dark alleyways, but generally it doesn't look as if the town planners were too fussed with providing adequate lighting. Some streets are completely plunged into darkness. You struggle more and more to find your way around. Was this awful gargoyle already here earlier in the afternoon, or are you in the wrong part of the town altogether? When you're almost about to give up your search for the Gilman Hotel and resign to finding a cozy spot somewhere on the curb, you see it, the outline of the hotel roof. Luckily, the hotel is set apart clearly from the misshapen nearby tenements. The Gilman Hotel is an architectural masterpiece. Although right now in the dark you can't make out many of its stylistic features. The hotel majestically rises 4 stories above the rickety houses that surround it. A sea of leaves glints in the lights of the moon. Must be ivy. An empty parking lot makes you think that the hotel must still have some rooms available. You felt like you've been followed for a long time. The growing paranoia and constant glancing over your shoulder. You'll be able to forget all of this very soon. You follow the path leading up to the entrance and come to a standstill in front of a massive oak door. Your hand touches the cold metal handle. You press it down and pull, but to your surprise, the door doesn't open. Ring the doorbell? Surely it should be possible to wake up the concierge, the lobby boy, or the unpaid intern. Under a polished brass sign that reads Best Hotel Competition 1928, First Round Competitor, you find the doorbell. You press down on the button for a second, then again for longer, and then once more for good luck. Wherever this doorbell is ringing, you can't hear its chime out here. You press the button a few more times. By now some angry person should be here to threaten you with physical violence. Nothing. You walk around the property. Metal bars in front of the windows make it impossible to simply climb inside, but you had at least hoped to find a lit window which you could knock on to make yourself known to someone inside. They won't even let you give one of the night shift staff a good scare. All the rooms inside the hotel seems to be in complete darkness, including the foyer. Ugh. No one is working. No one is having a drink at the hotel bar. You walk around the whole hotel still hoping to find a lit window somewhere. No such luck. Soon you're back at the entrance. It's hard to believe such a thing is possible these days, but the hotel really seems to be closed. No one is allowed in or out for that matter. Do the guests know that they're locked in the building overnight? Will there be another gormless tourist in an hour or two trying to get in just like you are now? Not actually your problem, you remind yourself. You turn around, leave the hotel behind you, and walk back to the street. So I wonder if we had actually gone back to the hotel instead of staying at the beach. I wonder what would have happened if something crazy happens inside the hotel after it's being locked at night. You wander the streets, the dark clouds spread out from the sea, like claws that ominously reach for the town, reach for you. The sun is set and the temperature is dropping fast. The air, too, gets cooler and a rough wind whips through the alley. You're lost. You have no idea how to get out of this godforsaken town, and as if that weren't bad enough, you also underestimated the September weather on the coast. And the real cold temperature is still yet to come. Scattered raindrops do not bode well. You aimlessly wander the streets. The narrow alleys are a labyrinth of simple wooden fishermen's huts. At least you're not completely on your own. Look at that, even at this late hour, there are groups of people out patrolling, with torches and pitchforks, and knives and nets? Stay in the shadows. It's not necessarily the knives and nets that make you worried, it's the limp that many of the villagers have which makes you nervous. The people don't walk, they waddle, stagger, stumble and shuffle with their upper bodies lifted up like malicious trolls in a fantasy film. You have found refuge behind some old barrels in a narrow side street. You would love to simply huddle up here, but in the middle of the alley you are without protection against the rain. The pitchforked mob still has noticed you. Maybe not all the people here are cranky, cold-hearted hicks. Maybe someone will let you spend the night in their house if you just ask politely. Maybe pigs can fly. The opposite was never proven. Anyway, the idea of spending the night in the warmth and leaving Innsmouth early tomorrow morning fills you with new hope. Your hand glides over your wrinkled trench coat, which really needs to be ironed. You're a freelance, so you have enough experience with looking pitiable. You've got a good feeling about this. Since all wooden huts look similarly run down, you simply knock on the next best door in order to escape the rain. The patter of the ever-increasing rain is the only thing you can hear. No steps, no metallic clinking of keys, and no good Samaritan to let you into their house at this dark hour. Break down the door? No? There's another just over there. Again you try your luck and knock 3 times quickly. Again no one lets you in. The difference is that this time you hear the rustling sound of curtains. In the window next to the door, the curtain sways slightly back and forth until it comes to rest. Leaning your arm against the wooden planks, you try to take a look inside, but it is too dark to see anything or anyone. This is exactly the kind of cowardly attitude that led this town into poverty and ruin, you hiss at the curtains, because somebody must be listening. Good deeds are what separates everyday heroes from common peasants. Good deeds like giving shelter to poor private detectives on rainy nights. You can't be sure that the occupant of this house has heard even one word of what you had just said. Still, you feel a little better now. A creaking sound behind you makes you freeze. The door! Right behind you, an old woman is peering out of the house in front of you, Right behind you, an old woman is peering out of the house in front of which you were shouting. She has cracked open the front and examines you through round spectacles. She reminds you of an insect. Her voice is rough as sandpaper. What do you want? I need a place to stay for the night, you say honestly. She licks her lips. Ugh. Was it you who just ranting out there? Confess. She did hear you. Yes, I guess that was me, you answer truthfully. It's a very urgent call. The woman looks you up and down. You feel assessed and judged. Then there's a rattling cough, and judged by the raised corners of her mouth, she may even be laughing. Well, at least you're honest, kid. She opens the door a little wider and waves you in. I mean, dude, it's the lady from the beginning, isn't it? The lady that was like, welcome to Innsmouth. Okay, come on in. Gratefully, you step into the apartment. You try to make out details about the inside of the dark old house. Candles are lined up on shelves and small side tables. A lot of them are almost burned down. At least they keep you from running into the furniture. The old woman is probably blind, and that's why she doesn't need lighting in her own home. Only with a lot of effort can you make out the contours of narrow doors that line the walls of the rooms. Whoever is responsible for the design of this hut has obviously tried to squeeze as much as possible into the very limited space. I have a guest bed available. You can have it if you help me with the gardening, sweetie. I don't want to bother you. Agree. Sure, I can help in the garden. The woman is at least 100 years old. You assume the only thing she needs help with is picking some daisies from the grass. She claps her hands. Perfect, let's get straight down to work, and afterwards Ethel will make you a hot tea. So, the name's Ethel, the lively old woman immediately scurries through one of the narrow doors and hastily waves to you to follow her. A smile creeps onto your face. You got a good feeling about this. Trying not to knock anything over, you make your way through the darkness. This place seems less like a house and more like an art installation. You walk through another room that doesn't even have any candles, but a faint source of light leads you further. As you cross the room, you almost trip over a bag lying on the floor. This must be the storage room where the old lady keeps her potato sacks. The bag makes a squeaky sound. Kick the potato sack again. You can't pass an opportunity to take revenge on the defenseless object of your own clumsiness. After a good kick, the bag makes a strange sound. Oomph. Yeah, the harvest must have been really, really bad. Dude, there's obviously a person in there. You push the door open a little further and step onto a small, dilapidated veranda. It appears that the very single one of the small houses in this residential area has its own back garden, which is shielded from neighbors by high wooden fences. Ethel's garden is well protected from any prying looks. It's also very small. Only a medium-sized paddling pool would have room here in summer, but the old woman seems to have her own plans regarding the use of her small garden. Before you graced her with your presence, she was in the process of digging an elongated pit. Oh no, it's a grave. Given the rain and the hard ground, this could not have been an easy task. She hasn't made a lot of progress. There's a shovel in the heap of earth that is piled up next to the pit. A light brown bag with many stains lies on this other side of the pit in the damp grass. The pit would have to be dug a bit deeper for the bag to fit, though. So, Ethel claps her hands. You freeze. You hadn't noticed her coming up next to you. This needs to be buried before it starts to stink. Your hands grab the shafts of the shovel, but then something catches your attention. It's the linen bag. Its contents twist and turn with alarming irregularity. What's in the bag? You ask. Even as you ask the question, you doubt whether you will like the answer. Well, if you really want to know, sweetie. Ethel leans against the pillar of her porch. Your question seems to amuse her. It's a bunch of rabid ferrets. They came and dug up almost half the garden. Most of them I shot to Kingdom Come. The old woman pretends to aim a rifle. But I must not have killed all of them, right, Dad? The twitching from the linen cloth still has your full attention. It is irregular, almost hypnotizing, just like a lava lamp. Is there a human being in there? The story about half-dead ferrets seems a bit flimsy to you. Is there a human in there? You ask straight out. Ethel claps her hands on her thighs and lets out a raspy laugh. With the sparkling eyes, she looks at you as if she's just been discovered a completely new side of you. Ah, oh, you. You grab the shovel and get ready to work on the small ditch that has already been dug. Chop, chop! The faster you dig the ominous pit for the suspicious bag, the sooner you will be able to sleep, hopefully without ferret-filled nightmares. Toot toot! Ethel does the gesture of a train driver. How nice! Pensioners with such a sunny disposition are rare. The earth is softer than you had anticipated. Instead of rock-hard ground, you dig up soft earth and quite a few bones and some dental braces. Do these dental braces belong to you? You ask carefully. Ethel laughs and curls up with amusement. No, silly? Still giggling, the old woman leans back against the veranda. Everything that needed to be said has been said. Bit by bit, you dig the pit further, and soon you've produced a huge pile of earth, which is full of bones. Ethel seems very pleased with your work. Before you know it, the old woman is standing at your side, digging you in the ribs with her elbow. Well, that was a piece of cake for a young person like you, wasn't it, sweetie? She claps her hands and leads you to the bag, which is now writhing as if possessed by the devil. Go on, bag in, bit of dirt on top, the end. A skinny hand pats you on the back. I'll put on the kettle. Ethel returns to her house and leaves you alone with the dug ditch, a twitching linen bag, and many questions. Now that the old woman is gone, you risk a peek. What is it that's moving there inside the bag? Is it a human? A drugged person desperately trying to get attention? Or are they actually rabbit ferrets? The moment of truth. You sink down into the wet grass. The knot is loose enough that you can undo it quickly. Your heart beats loudly in your chest as you open the bag and try to make out details in the dark. It's ferrets. One ferret jumps right in your face and bites your nose. In order to hold on to you, the animal rams its sharp claws into your skin. Your neck and cheeks burn like fire, but they are only a small note in the grand concerto of pain that's playing out on your body. Still in shock, you notice that another ferret has taken the chance to escape. It is now crawling up your head in a spiral. You can feel tiny but effective teeth sinking into your scalp. In bland panic, you feel more and more little creatures crawling over your body, and their little teeth and claws are penetrating every patch of skin. She was right. The fortune teller at the fun fair was right. As a small child of only 11 years, you did not know what to do with the terrible prophecy you were given. Death by ferrets. That's terrifying. You always thought it was a metaphor for something. Now you have to admit that the woman with the colorful turban had expressed herself surprisingly clearly. In a futile attempt to escape, you stumble over a dead ferret. The weird angle at which you fall worries you, but the countless ferrets that have bitten into your body prevents you from taking any corrective measures. Your head hits something sharp and everything goes black. Oh, rabbit ferrets, you get torn to shreds! Oh no! Life is like a sack of rabbit ferrets. Can I load last chapter? There we go. You wander the streets. Yeah. So let's skip this. Walk towards them. As repulsive and dangerous as they might seem with their improvised weapons, you have never been someone who judged a book by its cover, especially not when you're cold and sleepy. Before you reveal yourself to the patrol, you think again whether you should prepare yourself in some way. Following your intuition, you grab a piece of cloth dangling from a barrel. The torn cloth stinks of rotten fruit, which is a welcome change from the rotten fish that you've been smelling the whole evening. You walk up to the small group of townfolk. There, screams the front man of the group, an old fisherman with a white bushy beard. He waves his torch in your direction. His friends limp towards you, their rags and rain jackets and rags flap awkwardly against their bodies. Iya, 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 Cthulhu Fathang. Considering they're a limping horde of deformed lunatics, they manage to surround you quickly. The light of the torches dancing in the rain makes the already scary faces look even more bizarre. Nervously, they lick their bulging lips while they stick out their torches, knives, and pitchforks to keep you in check. You wonder if the people of Innsmouth suffer from radiation poisoning. It would explain so much. Hey, you there! The leader of the mob spits at you. Oh, damn it! There you were, hoping to be able to sneak past the creepy group, but you somehow must have caught their attention. Oh, I'm just going for a walk, you say innocently, and kick a rotting fish in front of you. He narrows his eyes. You're going for a walk on a night like this? Outrageous, a few people shout from behind. A pitchfork is poking your buttocks. Meanwhile, the old fisherman steps up to you, his hand massaging the bulges of skin dangling from his face. Who are you? He asks suspiciously, as if by itself your hand touches the piece of cloth that covers your face. It's me. Say your real name. You give your real name. The men look briefly confused and exchange skeptical looks. It doesn't take long before you realize that you have just made a mistake unlike any other. Well then, welcome to Innsmouth, heathen, the old man purrs. You stare into some strangely deformed, elongated pupils. We are going to have fun tonight. He's looking at someone next to you. Before you consider what the hell is happening, something hits you against the back of the head. You lose consciousness. Yeah, but I couldn't. I only had one option, and that was to tell them my real name. Freezing cold, voices whispering, arguing, raindrops that roll off your forehead, a pungent smell of fish that you have almost gotten used to. Damn it, your cheek is pressed against something cool. After the first moment of disorientation, you realize that you are lying somewhere out on the street. You open your eyes. The situation is not new to you. On several drunken nights in Boston, you have ended up near a trash can on a dodgy side street. This is perfectly normal. You groan as you raise your head and immediately regret moving. All you can feel at the back of your head is pain. You have no doubt you were knocked out. You try to touch the back of your head but fail. You seem to be tied up. Okay, this is definitely not normal. At least now you recognize where you are. It's in Innsmouth Town Hall Square. At least 50 villagers have gathered around you. They have huddled together in small groups and are deep in conversation. Relaxed, they rest on their pitchforks and have thrown their fishing nets loosely over their shoulders. Now and then they grin at you. You try to appeal to someone standing around you. Help me, bloated people of Innsmouth, please save me, you shout to a group of stocky men and women in raincoats. Your words fall on deaf ears. Why on earth are they ignoring you? A worn-down boot suddenly appears in your field of vision. Awake already? A voice croaks from above. With great effort you manage to look up to see who dares interrupt your fit of self-pity. It's the leader of the group, Abraham, who looks down on you triumphantly. From where you are, you can see all the small tumors that are sprouting from his chin. Yuck, you say involuntarily. If you've offended him, he doesn't show. He gives you a dirty grin. I hope you've enjoyed your stay in your little town today, landlubber. I hate all of you. It is difficult to think clearly. It's been a strange day, that much is clear. You're opting for a timeless I hate all of you. Then you narrow your eyes slightly. The old man blinks back suspiciously. Damn, the man whistles as if impressed. You're a tough guy, I'll give you that. I wonder how long that will last when you're on fire. Fire? Before you can ask for a more detailed explanation, you are grabbed by the arms. Some fishermen have silently approached you without you noticing. They jerk you up into the air and carry you over the square. After just a few yards, they slow down. The grounds they're walking on seem less solid. You're standing by a stake. Two men in rags and gross bulges on their cheeks undo your handcuffs, and they tie your arms around the central pole. What's all this about? The situation is so bizarre. Is this really a stake? Do these people really want to set you on fire in a public space? A bunch of ragged figures with deformed bodies is gathered in the town square. They have aquashed noses, gills, and psoriasis that covers the whole face. You're certain that you have not yet met any of these horror figures today. Or did you? Maybe they simply looked more harmless in direct sunlight. Finally about time, someone shouts, annoyed, and drowns out all the other conversations taking place in the town square. Looks like someone finally managed to light a torch. Solemnly the men march towards you, and in awe the other villagers make way for them. Not everyone in Innsmouth can light a fire. Two of the men remain with the other spectators, and the torchbearer continues alone until he stands before you and the stake. He turns his back on you and begins to speak to the eclectic audience. Brothers and sisters. Yes, Abraham, several people respond, which say a lot about the Innsmouth gene pool. Quiet, he growls immediately. I mean everyone present. Oh, brothers and sisters. Oh. Satisfied, he solemnly spread his arms. You can now see that the hand with which he holds the torch is a single flap of skin wrapped around the log. The hour approaches, and before you stand our tribute to Dagon, we share the sacrifice and the blessing, for we are faithful children of the... He falls silent. A dozen tourists walks out of the next alley along. The villagers look surprised and exchange baffled looks. Some look to Abraham for help. Help! Hey, help me! Please, rescue me! You blurt out. You earn some deeply hurt looks from the villagers, but their feelings are not as high up on your priorities list as, say, surviving this night? The tourist looks over at you with interest. The first few break away from the group and come closer. A young blonde man takes selfies with you and himself at the stake. Hey you scream at him. No one, absolutely no one. Finally someone speaks the truth, a voice from the crowd says. The man's jaw drops, but it drops in a way that lets you know that a whole stream of objections is about to rain down on you. Oh my God, he says in a motionless expression. The nerve of this hillbilly to talk to me. He turns his head back to you and takes more selfies of the two of you. The worst thing about all this is that he seems to think that you're from Innsmouth. A tourist stands in amazement before the stake. Is this one of those medieval games like they do in Salem? They do that over in Europe too, with knights and stuff like that? Abraham rolls his eyes. Sure, he replies, but that turns out to be the wrong move. The tourist waves over his companions. The group of tourists assembles in front of the stake, which means that the locals can no longer see you. Some of the rough-looking men in fishing coats walk up to Abraham and speak to him. They're obviously getting nervous. Meanwhile, a few of the tourists break away. They take pictures of you at the stake. We have to overpower them somehow, is the first thing you can make out. A thin man in a striped wool sweater and tattered trousers speak to Abraham. The man nervously rubs his arms, his bulging eyes darting back and forth between his friends and the group of tourists. I mean, all these pictures, what if any of this gets out? Whatever, they just think it's all an act, and overpower them? Just look at us, they'll knock us out, Abraham hisses angrily. If you compare the illustrious mix of healthy and well-fed tourists with the hunchbacked, scarred people from Innsmouth, there is no doubt who would win the fight. They've bound me to this stake to burn me alive, you explain with as much patience as you can muster in light of the circumstances. These people here are all clearly insane. Against your hopes, the group of tourists turns out to be of no help whatsoever. With polite interest, they listen to your explanation, which they consider to be part of the reenactment of the witch trials. You can feel a massive headache coming on. Like in Salem, squeaks an elderly lady with more enthusiasm than appropriate for yeah. Oh, yes, like the Salem? Like, excuse me, that was people dying. Squeaks an elderly lady with more enthusiasm than appropriate for this whole situation. Any last words? Abram asks. 9/11 was an inside job. Some villagers give you a round of applause, but the majority of the audience stands there awkwardly. Abraham just shrugs. Then he puts the burning torch on the wood. With a crackling sound, the fire consumes the first dry branches. The sight of the spreading flames makes you panic. Suddenly you realize that this whole thing serves the single purpose of setting you on fire. This has been evident for some time, but only now has it really clicked. It doesn't take long for the whole pile of wood to be on fire. The heat is unbearable. Your skin hurts so much that you almost lose consciousness, but no such luck. Only when all your clothes are singed and blisters form on your cheeks does your circulatory system finally collapse. Damn. Ending number 2 in just in under an hour. At the stake, you burn alive. Never again cold cases. Okay. Actually, no. Yeah. Load chapter, I guess. Let's skip. Cocktails, sure. More paper umbrellas, bits of fruits and straws, the better. You rub your hands, you can hardly wait to blissfully collapse into a hammock with a drink in your hand. You were born for that. Lost in thought, you keep wandering over the dunes. You notice how all the colors of the sea and the beach seem to be swallowed up by the strange light conditions here. You hold your hand up in front of your face. Your skin looks gray and matte, but still you feel relaxed. The murmur of the sea invigorates you. You feel a deep sense of longing within you, a serene sense of inner peace and freedom, until the techno music starts. Monotonous beat, the sound seem... yeah. Yeah. To the beach bar. The cries of the seagulls, yes, that's the same. Sit at the bar. Okay. A bored-looking man enters the area behind the bar. You wonder how old he is, but it's really hard to tell. He's wearing a stained green shirt and squiggly G is embroidered on the left breast pocket. This must be Zeke, the bartender. But there's a G on his... okay. When a word of the barman's return has spread, holidaymakers swarm the beach bar like bees round a honeypot. "Sorry it took so long, part-time job at the hotel," he says, bored, and attached a little sign to his shirt, which reads, "Happy to serve you today, Ezekiel. You get 1 round of Innsmouth special on me." He expertly lines up a row of tall highball glasses and begin to cut up a pineapple. People start cheering, "Go Seek! Go Seek!" 2 young men start chanting. They enthusiastically jump up and down while hugging each other. It takes a while until the first rush to the bar is over. You wonder what you could ask Ezekiel. Is this place always this busy? There is a steady rush on the bar. The tourists continue to enjoy the drinks, and nobody seems to want to leave the beach bar. Not bad for the northeast coast in late September. This place always this busy? You inquire. Nope. A bit busier this weekend, but wait until midnight when the party really starts, if you know what I mean. He winks at you. No, what's going to happen at midnight? No, what's going to happen at midnight, you say, betraying your utter cluelessness. He pointedly rolls his eyes. Fine, you won't be on the VIP list then. Their loss. Okay. Well, the real party is happening, Ezekiel explains in a condescending tone. Right down by the sea. If you want to be hip, you should go there. You feel a bit queasy to the stomach. Not really. And that's that. You shrug your shoulders. Ezekiel does the same. This conversation wasn't exactly informative, but you now feel a little closer to the bartender. 1 or 2 inches. Yeah, no point is us going down there. We already had wild sea fish people sex. You wonder what you could ask Ezekiel. You're curious, what's the Innsmouth special? An STD? This is the best drink on the whole East Coast, baby! One of the techno guys sing-songs drunkenly. Considering the way he holds himself up, it borders on a miracle that he manages to string a coherent sentence together. The surrounding people merely nod. Nobody seems to know which ingredients are actually used in the concoction. Better drunk than sorry. Cheers, Ezekiel mumbles without looking at you. He calmly continues to chop pieces of pineapple to prepare the next batch of drinks. You sip from the glass, and the taste of strong alcohol is bitter on your tongue. The orange juice and pineapple pieces barely hide the high rum content. Admittedly, you've previously exposed your body to much worse fluids. It tastes awful. Better not. The desire for unrestrained binge drinking disappears as quickly as it came. You put the glass back down on the counter. Will the taste of rum ever leave your tongue again? You wonder. Okay, leave him in peace. With a heavy heart, you leave the man to his work. You've already spent too much time during this investigation at the beach bar. So what now? The sea breeze makes you sleepy. You trot towards the deck chairs in a haze. It can't hurt to just rest for a moment. It means you'll be able to resume your mission. Oh no, we're going straight there. Yeah, private. Stay away from it all. You decide on the deck chair that's the furthest away from the beach bar and its visitors. Yet you're not alone. It's a family you've already noticed a few times today. Happily chatting parents. Yeah. Drawing together. Yeah, now we're at night. Go to the hotel. Why not? It's freezing and you're already screwed up the case. The day is over and there's no way you'll manage to find the little girl today. Off to the hotel. You leave the beach bar with a heavy heart and walk back to the harbor. Yeah. Ring the doorbell. Knock on the door. They've asked for this, hoping to maybe wake up one of the hotel guests. You pound your fist against the doors. Apart from a bit of dust falling off the door frame, your efforts are in vain. You only produce muffled sounds and you doubt that anyone inside will hear them. It's hard to believe, but the architecture of the hotel seems to be of very high quality. You begin to wonder why anyone would waste their exquisite workmanship in a place like Innsmouth. Well, we know that there's no other way in, so it's hard to believe such a thing is possible these days, but the hotel really seems to be closed. Yeah. And then we go into town, so we should hide again. Stay in the shadows. Should we keep moving through town, maybe? One alley follows the next. The ground is muddy with knee-deep puddles. The paths are lined with run-down huts consisting of nothing but a few bricks and corrugated iron roofs piled on top of each other. You must be in the old town, an area that is definitely not being advertised in the travel brochures. Okay, I also need to... it's downtown so that I can go here again if I die. The very moment your cerebellum wants to complain about being bored, you run into the arms of a patrol. Oh no! Oh damn it, although they have not noticed you yet. Undecided, the group has gathered in the middle of the road and seems to be discussing their options. Nevertheless, they are alert and keep checking their surroundings. You reckon that they will discover you soon, because here in your position you are a sitting duck. Grab a piece of cloth. I want to leave town, you say honestly. Leave town tonight? A wolfish grin spreads over the man's face. With the free arm, he makes a few hasty gestures. Suddenly, you can feel the grip of a strong hand clasping around your arms. You stare into some strangely deformed, elongated pupils. Okay, so we're gonna have fun again. Dang it, so that just takes me straight here. If all else fails, you decide to wallow in self-pity. After all, you have no clue how you got yourself into this situation. You wonder if those gangsters have also stolen your wallet and emptied your bank account. Do they have your apartment key? Have they already been to your crappy apartment in Boston? And what about your goldfish Al? You really should have fed him again before you left. Damn it. You're going to lose everything, everything, but they will never take your online private detective license. A worn down boot, yeah. Enjoyed? I loved it here. Whether you enjoyed it... Enjoyed? I loved it here, you shout enthusiastically. The man blinks. What? Oh, why? The fresh air is your answer, but this you mean, of course, the sea breeze that blows here from the ocean, but which sadly has made a detour via rotten fish, stinking people, and seagull carcasses. That air. Damn, the man whistles as if impressed. You're a tough guy, I'll give you that. Oh, so it leads to the same no matter what? You tug on the ropes, twist and turn your wrist as far as you can. No luck. The handcuffs are not even particularly well attached. You can feel their loose fit. It's just that they are strong enough to hold someone like you. Okay, that's the same. Yeah. You remain silent. This whole thing is really rather unpleasant. Sure, these degenerates want to set you on fire and sacrifice you to some god, but the point is that they picked you for it. Out of all the travelers in this town, they chose you. For example, this guy who is constantly shoveling white french fries into his mouth. They didn't pick him. Or the blonde hipster who has the nerve to take selfies of himself and the steak with yours truly on it. They didn't pick him either. And these tourists were carefully considered, and only you were found to be worthy enough of the steak. The tourists mingle with the people, but the atmosphere remains stiff and awkward. The villagers once again prove to be lousy hosts. The tourists soon move on to the next attraction of the Innsmouth nightlife. Abraham the torchbearer hems and haws for a few more minutes until all tourists have left the town square. Thanks, he mumbles sheepishly with a side glance in your direction. Don't worry about it. Never mind, you say, bored. You've said goodbye to life, and the last thing you want to see is your last moment on Earth, our goddamn tourist. Wretched tourist. I regret nothing. Some villagers give you a round of applause. Yeah. Brings you inner peace. Oh, fire, the naughty rebel among the four elements, the slowly approaching flame stake, take you back to your childhood, evenings under the stars, which you watched on the TV. Oh, television, it doesn't take long for the whole pile of wood to be on fire. The heat is unbearable, your skin hurts, so much that you almost lose consciousness. Okay. Yeah, so that's the same ending. So I want to go to... I don't see... Let's go to city entry, maybe? stretch your legs, yeah. Yeah, sure, turn around, talk to her. I guess that's not the same lady, she looks like the same. Okay. Okay, I would love to subscribe to the newsletter you squeeze out. A newsletter. Muriel claps her hands excitedly and swiftly shoves a subscription list and pen in your face. Yeah, sure. You put down your real address. A promise is a promise. Visibly pleased, Muriel takes back the paper and pen. We'll send you a coupon in 4 to 6 weeks. Typical. You had enough now. You point at your wrist while backing away. Still so much to see, you know. Thanks again ever so much for everything. Muriel's eyes moves past you and settle on a tourist family. Okay. Okay, so we went to the harbor before, and we also went to the city center, so let's go to the hotel. You recognize this roof from afar. Inspect the cars. You look around again just to make sure that the people who own the cars aren't hiding somewhere with their shotgun at the ready. The coast is clear. First you walk over to the antique car. Well, you're not a car expert, but the car looks antique to you anyway. Both seats inside are made of white leather, a bit tacky. You turn away from the antique car and look towards the van. No writing on the side, a regular registration plate. The windows in the front blacked out. Hang on, you have a brainwave. Maybe this is the van into which Tabitha had been pulled when she was kidnapped, when she was lured to her awful fate by sweets and lollipops? Sure. Of course, this all makes sense. In all likelihood, you've just managed to find the actual kidnapper, the seed of all that is evil and wrong in this case, and all you had to do was book a hotel room and stare at cars. You're a natural. Now all you need is some proof. Try to get into the boot. Of course, whatever it is that you're looking for must be in the back of the van. Excitedly, you walk around the car. Sadly, the door is not open. That would have been truly lucky. Full of optimism, you try the handle to see if the door has been left unlocked. There's noticeably resistance when you turn the handle. Damn, you won't get in without the car keys. Well, we're not smashing in the window. Attracting attention much? You've stayed in this parking lot long enough. You don't want anyone else to call the police on you. Maybe you should just go and book your room. You really hope the inside of the hotel has been looked after a little better than the outside, but you quickly disabused of that notion. The massive wooden door is difficult to open. Shouldn't the staff be doing this anyway? With a loud creaking sound from the hinges and an exhausted puffing and panting on your part, you manage to open the door and enter the lobby of the Gilman Hotel. You wonder if guests are even welcome in this place. The room is sparsely lit. There are impressive chandeliers hanging from the ceiling, which, if working, would perhaps not quite give the grand hall back its original splendor, but at least convey more warmth. Your first steps tell you that there are rotten floorboards hiding under the thick carpet. The green wall paneling and wallpaper also appear rotten and musty. Sort of wet. Go to the reception. Yeah, we're doing this. Whoa! Because this is one of the storylines we haven't followed, the hotel one. Before you let yourself be distracted by the questionable interior design and the associated health issues, you walk purposefully towards the reception desk. A small greenish creature stands behind the counter. The loudly humming ceiling lamp above harshly illuminates his silhouette and gives his face hard edges. You can make out every individual speck of dust and dandruff on his dark green velvet collar and crooked shoulders. Maybe they should be dimming the lights after all. The figure smiles at you, or perhaps it's more of a grin. His face unsettles you. You lean forward at an angle to get a better look at him. The corners of his mouth reach all the way up to his dried up ears. What do you mean, dried up ears? His smile looks like it's painted on. His beady eyes lie deep in the cavity of his skull and seems to stare into opposite directions. Has he even blinked yet? And on top of it all, he smells funny. How may I help? How may I help? You're startled and take a step back. Welcome to the Gilman Hotel. My name is Cornelius Gilman III. How may I be of service to you? Okay, we're not doing that. That's killing my voice. The man's gaze remains unchanged, and his unnatural smile still seems to be etched into his face. You're still surprised that he can talk with that expression on his face. Just a moment ago, you could have sworn he was an inanimate puppet. Just like now when he's not speaking. I would like to book a room, please. You begin and manage not to blurt out in a different hotel. Perfect! The Gilman Hotel is delighted to be able to welcome you as its guest. May I ask whether you're in Innsmouth for business or pleasure? How long will you be staying with us? Would you prefer a view towards the beach or the skyline of our exciting town? When would you like to be woken up? Do you sleep deeply? Are you traveling alone? Do you have family? Who knows that you're here? Can I interest you in your spa, fitness, and wellness activities? Would you like to subscribe to our newsletter? That never bodes well. They ask if I'm traveling alone, if I have family, and if anyone knows I'm here. How long can you hold your breath? Funny story, I've been able to breathe underwater since I was a child. Are we done now? Can I go to my room? The concierge's expression did not change a tiny bit for the duration of your conversation, let alone did he blink. Thank you very much, that was all I needed to know. Now all you need to do is sign here. He tilts his strangely shaped head over the guest register. Impatiently, you sign it with Noob Slayer. Sadly, we're all booked up this season. There's only one spare room. Here is your key for room 666. Enjoy your stay. Then why did you ask me if I wanted a view over the beach or over the city? You look at the key, which has magically appeared on the counter. Then your eyes slowly wander to the man, past the man to the wall, where countless other keys are hanging. Go to your room. You look at a golden panel with a layout of the different rooms and floors. Room 666, there it is, 4th floor, left wing of the building. You walk up the stairs to the upper floors, but you can still feel the eyes of the concierge on you. Panting, you finally reach your floor. An almost endless corridor spreads out in front of you. At the other end, you can see a figure who seems to be as lost as you are. Didn't the building look much smaller from the outside? You walk down the corridor when you notice the figure approaching you. Your brain is mentally preparing itself for benign hotel small talk. But wait, it's you! You walk a bit further and realize you're standing in front of a mirror. That's why the corridor looked so vast. The mirror marks a fork. According to the room numbers, your room should be further on the left, in the corridor towards the right. You can see a small yellow sign on the floor. Maintenance. Walk around. Well, you're here already, might as well. You saunter to the other wing of the building. The corridor winds around several corners and leads you deep into the building. Just when you start to wonder what on earth you're doing here, you step onto something hard. The clicking sound makes you stop in your tracks. You kneel down to look at the glinting thing on the floor. It's a set of keys. Several keys on a metal ring, including a hotel key with the exact same curved shape as yours, and a car key with a black plastic cap. Heck yeah! Someone must have dropped it. Look for the room that goes with the key. On the key there's a number engraved, 237. Conveniently, this is precisely the door in front of which you're standing. If only all your cases were that easy to solve. You could now return the key to the guest and have a good laugh about it all. Or, just in case they're not there, you might have a little look around the door, around the room. In order to not blindside the guest, you decide to knock first. Either these old wooden doors are soundproof or there's no one in. I think I'm gonna pocket the key because I think it's the key to the van outside. You pocket the key, you can always have a think later about what you're going to do with it. Ah, this looks nice. After 2 more confusing turns and giant mirrors, you reach room 666, finally. You're going to drop your stuff off and take a nap. Good plan. Of course, the door resists being opened. You jerk the key back and forth in the lock until you hear a satisfying clicking sound. A soothing warmth hits you as you enter the room. Immediately, the synapses in your brain switch into energy-saving mode. The trip to Innsmouth has probably taken more out of you than you had thought. You don't even notice the rest of the room. Unpack? That's right, you're supposed to do something else. A little girl needs to be found, and the reward for it needs to be paid into your bank account. It's only when you march to the closet that you realize you have nothing to unpack. After your briefcase mysteriously disappeared, all you have left is a very basic survival kit. A toothbrush and travel bottles of various care products that you had stuffed into your coat pockets in a rush. You go into the bathroom and position your treasures around the sink. A handful of ice-cold water is enough to refresh you. Good thing you didn't go straight to bed. Who knows, you might never have woken up again. Now that you feel a little more refreshed, you leave the bathroom and survey your tiny kingdom. Your place is furnished only with the bare necessities. Your bed is flanked by a chest of drawers. At the window there's a desk with curved ornaments, and next to the bathroom door there's a huge, massive dark wardrobe, which extends all the way up to the ceiling. The yellowing floral wallpaper is slowly detaching itself from the walls in some places, and on the wall you can see a range of paintings with elaborately decorated frames. Examine the pictures. Since this room has not been equipped with a television, you're left with art as your only entertainment. The first picture shows a ship in a choppy sea. The motif looks familiar but pretty. The impressive fight of the small ship against the huge forces of nature. Half hidden in the background, you can see a small spot of light. You have to squint and walk up even closer to make out a lighthouse. Even some elements of a town are visible. Could this be Innsmouth? You turn to the next picture and immediately take an involuntarily step back. You're looking at a grouchy, weather-beaten man, the embodiment of a sailor, complete with a captain's cap, a full grey beard, and a thick black coat collar. The painter of this work opted for a frontal perspective rather than a more advantageous side angle. His head slightly raised, the man's piercing gaze seems to be fixed on something in the far distance. A small spark of light drowns in his sinister eyes. Odd choice for the hotel room decor. The third and last picture hangs on the adjacent wall, an idyllic view of the beach on a quiet day, a pair of lovers with their backs turned to the viewer. He is wearing a white shirt, she is wearing a yellow dress. The two of them are in an embrace on a sand dune and look towards the horizon. This image fills you with a profound sense of calm. Open the window. After a day out and about investigating, you have no desire to return to this stuffy room tonight. At least open a window and let some fresh air into the room. The window lock is an unnecessarily complicated crank that you turn around aimlessly for a while until you understand how the mechanism works. You are now reasonably refreshed again and ready to face the town. Armed only with your wallet, your mobile phone, and the photo of the little girl, you step out in the corridor and lock the room door. You turn right at the first fork, then left. Again, right? Anxious to get out, you suddenly find yourself at a dead end. After trying a few other left-right combinations, you finally find a golden sign on a wall which shows you the way to the stairs. As you walk down the circling stairs, you look at the reception on the first floor. The airy, almost mechanical smile of the concierge greets you. It's as if he has nothing better to do than watch your every move. Head to the exit. Discussing details of your accommodation seems like a waste of time to you. While with quick steps you hurry out of the building, but you can still feel the eyes of the concierge on you. Time to go and look for Tabitha. But I wanted to look at the cars. Town center. Innsmouth Town Square, the beating heart of a city, a big attraction for local tourism. It is animated by groups of visitors who are chatting away in the sun. Pretty relaxed vibe here, so you decide to go over to the tourist. There's a lot of space on the edge of the fountain, which people use to sit down. They are stretching their legs, eating their packed lunches, and studying maps of the town. The perfect place to let go and relax. Finally, some normal people. Compared to the grey, sometimes even sinister-looking residents, this isolated tourist group stands out like a beacon of light in the darkness. Some of the Innsmouth residents shamble around in the middle of the square. Some lurk indecisively in the shadow of the narrow alleys. Again and again they cast stealthy glances at the tourists and at you. Trying to take shelter from the ominous glances, you rush over to the lively tourist. You sit yourself down next to a family who has an animated chat and are taking lots of pictures. They're eating their lunch from Tupperware and unwrapped snacks from aluminum foil. At once you feel a little more secure. The family has spread out around the fountain. The young son in the nerdy t-shirt is wedged worryingly tight between mother and father on the edge of the basin. The daughter is probably going through some critical phase of puberty. She sits visibly discontent on the brick floor, as if nobody in the history of mankind has ever suffered as much as she is right now, this very moment. If you didn't know better, you'd think that the family was trapped in some sort of time loop. The parents keep eating food, the kids complaining, and are then mollified over and over again. By coincidence, you look towards one of the dark alleyways. You notice a pale man whose statue reminds you of a chameleon rather than a human. From his hiding place, he looks directly at the family. Cold sweat has started forming on your forehead. You don't move so as not to attract any attention. While the family is still discussing the plans for the day, the scary man in the shadow still has his pop eyes trained on them. You watch him for about 5 or 6 minutes. Maybe your concentration isn't the best today. Or you watch too many bad movies, but you could swear the guy hasn't blinked at all during this entire time. Then it happens. The figure turns away from the square. You walk around the fountain as inconspicuously as possible and peer into the alleyway the pale figure had vanished into. There are trash cans arranged in a helter-skelter way, as if this was some sort of obstacle course. Looks like you're too late, no one in sight. Oh well, you really would have liked to ask this guy a few questions. The stench from the trash cans drives you back onto the square. Okay, City Hall. Innsmouth Town Hall. Impressed by its grandeur, you whistle as you enter the lobby. You glean a sense of the former wealth and prosperity of the place from before. Well, whatever it was that happened here. A red carpet runs across the white marble floor, while the green velvet curtains on the wall unsuccessfully try to hide some of the cracks in the massive wooden beams. Specks of dust dance in the rays of light, shining in through the rows of grand windows. You look up to the ceiling and spot a massive candelabra hanging ominously above your head. It's exactly the kind of thing that would drop on the baddies in the fourth act of a caper movie. A series of ancient corridors go off to the sides into the belly of this bureaucratic beast. There must be offices with sinister civil servants dotted all around this place. Here in the foyer, only every third of the few counters is actually manned. With this kind of morale among the people running the town, it's no wonder everything's a bit off. The clerks who are working seems to have placed bets on who can move slowest. A very normal town hall indeed. What would you like to do? Inspect the lobby. Keep looking around the lobby. There doesn't seem to be anywhere you could get a ticket for the queue. Presumably even one of those old rolls of paper would be too novel for this place. The patrons are simply sitting on the benches, and some higher power seems to let them know when it's their turn. Many people in Innsmouth simply don't get bored, but you are surprised that you can't see anyone among those waiting who has brought a book, a magazine, or any type of technology to entertain themselves. No chats between parents, neighbors, or strangers, only people waiting in silence. You feel a bit uncomfortable because you're gawking at people, but you can't help it. You want to catch them doing anything, even if it's just blinking, but after a while you give up. You have a case to solve after all. It can't hurt to get a better look behind the scenes of this place. You wander around the ancient and dimly lit corridors of the town hall. The slightly rotting floorboards make a squeaking sound with every step you take. Bored Innsmouth residents from very old to not quite as old sit on benches in front of the barely lit offices. A lot of the offices are not actually staffed. You peek into offices in which the doors have been left open or ajar. You're not sure whether the civil servants are merely on a break or whether they've simply melted into the carpet. A number of the offices are unoccupied. They look just as dingy as those actually used by clerks, but the locals clearly seem to be able to recognize the differences, as they walk unerringly into only the offices where there are actually clerks currently at work. You stick your head into one of the dimly lit rooms. A musty smell of old fish is in the air, mixed with decades-old dust. In the middle of the room is a desk with an attached drawer cabinet. It is surrounded by shelves on which far too many files were stacked. Some of them are scattered around on the floor. Nobody seems to think it necessary to tidy up. The floorboards groan as you enter the office. Oh, I want to believe found a couple of Word City Hall records. In movies, it is often abandoned folders in which very important information can be found. Often they hold incriminating photos and handwritten notes like, "I brought drugs today from Russian child traffickers." Just once would you like to come across one of these files during your own investigation. Instead, today you find a record of fines for non-compliances with glass wool insulation regulation from 1978. Another folder seems to contain a type of citizens register for the same year. You see birth dates, weddings, and death dates noted. Relatively carelessly, you can scan the list for known names. You're about to put the folder away when you notice some strange things after all. The inhabitants of Innsmouth seems to be surprisingly sprightly. Comparing birth and death dates, the average age is 90 plus years, with some well above that. Life expectancy usually goes down in poorer areas, and Innsmouth is definitely a poor town. Then you spot a euphemism noted down near the date of death that you haven't come across before. Went into the sea. That's what the lady said her husband did. He went to the sea. Presumably, this has to do with this place being a fishing village where locals might disappear at sea. The possibility of a missing person returning cannot be ruled out. Either that or Innsmouth has a mob problem that made a lot of people sleep with the fishes. Maybe it means that lots of the fishermen in their 90s are falling off their boats. It is also strange that in many marriages the name of the spouse is not noted or known. Many John and Jane Does can be found in the records. You're wondering if this is illegal in some way. As far as you're aware, you can't get married anonymously outside of Vegas. Maybe Innsmouth have some sort of loophole. Well, it's probably because they're with fishmen. Soon you have finished reading through the whole folder and have not come across any names that ring a bell. Well, except for the one guy who has the same name as your father, even has the same birthday. You should probably talk to your father about it sometime. Oh. Is your father a fish person? Examine the desk. You wander around the desk and sit down on the uncomfortable office chair. Its upholstery seems to be filled with pointed springs, which are all in the most impractical places. Pity for the poor soul who actually has to work here. A thick layer of dust covers the table surface like a protective blanket. I think I went offline for a second there, but I think the recording should be fine, even if I went offline in the stream. Yeah, for sure went offline and on again, I think. Yeah. Okay, the wood is solid and firm, the kind of wood you have always wanted for your own office. Financially, however, there was only enough for the papier-mâché and building foam versions. The first drawer contains lined notepads in varying sizes. They are yellow and fibrous, and you're tempted into stroking the top sheet with your hand in fascination. A few pencils and a ballpoint pen are scattered next to the sheets. You wonder what to do now. A shiver goes down your spine. You may not be able to spot impending danger, but your gut feeling rarely lets you down. Clearly, it's time to go. Talk to one of them. And why not? The locals who have been motionless on the chairs outside don't take notice of you. As soon as you step into the room, all oxygen disappears from the air. It is unlikely that you will ever enter the ancient burial chambers of a decaying pyramid, but you imagine this comes close. It is noticeably darker in the office than in the corridor. A blind on the windows of the old building prevents any natural light from entering the room. In the yellowish glow of the desk lamp, you can see the outlines of the civil servant who is hiding out there. A small, plump man whose fingers dig into the edge of the table. He was obviously not expecting visitors during his working hours. A thin film of sweat covers his forehead. It almost looks as if someone poured a pot of syrup over the poor chap. You're reminded of an animal documentary you watched in one of your fits of boundless boredom. There was this bug, or was it a toad? Fact is, the man reminds you of something small and slimy. At the front edge of the desk there is a nameplate that reads Mr. Wilson. "What do you want?" he hisses, annoyed. You show him the Polaroid picture of Tabitha. "Have you seen this girl? Her name is Tabitha Marsh." "No, now get out of here. You can't just come in here without an appointment." A lump is forming in your neck. The officer didn't even look at the photo. His pupils didn't move an inch. They're still fixed on you. When he says appointment, it's breathy, almost sensual, but maybe you're just imagining things. Okay, I'm going. You growl back with as much confidence as you can muster, given the circumstances. You wasted a lot of time here. Your way out of the office leads you past the still unmoving body which is curled up on the waiting bench. You wonder how long it will take until someone takes care of the poor soul. You can't just sit around and wait. You walk along a few of the dark corridors until you come by a massive door with shiny oak wood panels. It's bigger than any of the other doors, so this must be the right place to come. You walk into the room and lift your hand to shield your eyes from the light. A bright and clean office, just as if you stepped into another dimension. A man in a fitted suit and lots of gel in his hair looks up and gives you a formal smile. Come in, how may I help you? Next to him, on a much smaller gray desk, sits a hunched figure in a cowl. Must be the assistant. Oh God. The man rushes to you. Hello? Ah, hello! The assistant now gets up too and walks up behind the mayor so as to follow your conversation better. Judging from your colorful clothes, I can already tell you're not from here. He points at your trench coat. I am Mayor Van Pawn. Welcome to our beautiful town. Why do you look normal? Well, I guess that you're normal as you can. What does it say? Yith we can? Okay. So some follow the Yith then, and some follows Cthulhu? The Dagon? I hope you're enjoying your visit. Oh, don't say anything. I know exactly what you're thinking. You heard about our idyllic little seaside town and have come here to experience it for yourself. Maybe you've even chatted with a few of the locals here. Just an innocent chat, as you do when you visit a new place. You talk and notice more and more, and people here are different. They're quieter. You could call it humble even. You start to feel dizzy. How long is this guy going to talk without pausing for breath? You've got to understand, though, the courageous people in this town are honest people. Fishermen, weather-beaten farmers of the ocean, the oldest trade in the world. They're not so well versed in marketing, so I'll be the first to admit that at times they can appear odd to people from outside of town. Really, they all have heart of gold. Are you aware that a lot of people have gone missing in your town? The advisor whispers something. We can't be sure 100% what happened to these people. Maybe some of the people here are simply missing some of their old friends and that they haven't seen for a while. I myself, for example, really miss the tiger who used to appear in those cornflake ads. That tiger still exists. Really? Oh man, I wish we had proper TV reception here. Did you know that a little girl has gone missing? Oh, that's terrible. I hope that she'll be found. You should definitely alert the authorities. The mother got in touch with me. She came into my PI office and hired me to find the girl. The advisor tugs on Van Pawn's suit and whispers something. I've just heard that I should not be involved in such precarious matters if I want to keep having a career. Ask him for help. This is about a child, for God's sake. Have you no decency? The eyes of the stiffly smiling mayor wander briefly over to his secretary, who slowly takes out a tiny pipe. He blows into it deeply once, but there's no sound. Damn it, are they going to let a pack of dogs loose? Worse than that, two men enter the room. They're security by the looks of it. The fingers of the two are already caressing their batons. Without being informed about the situation, then come straight at you with bored faces. Follow us. Sure. You throw your hands in the air in an exaggerated gesture and follow the security personnel out of the office. The two don't even look around for you. They're simply continuing a pretty boring chat. Jesus, even the town hall security guards are walking sleeping pills. All of you wander through the corridors. You give them the slip. While the two men continue on their merry way, you decide to give them the slip. At a crossing of corridors, you sense your opportunity and calmly walk off to the right. Dog whistles is so humiliating. We need an alarm system or something. But how with no electricity? Those are the last scraps of conversation you catch. You frown. You always imagine it would be much more difficult to escape from a security guard. Perhaps you don't require any qualification to be a security guard in Innsmouth. You rush back to the lobby before they notice your absence. As you hurry across the marble floor, you are almost overwhelmed with the sophistication of your escape. You will, of course, mercilessly embellish the escape part when you tell your neighbors back home in Boston. Still, you can't shake the feeling that you've just wasted your time in this place. You push your weight against the massive wooden door and leave the town hall. Innsmouth Town Hall was a strange experience. You decide to avoid all other town facilities in order not to waste any more precious time. Following an inner voice, you march towards the little alleyways. The town center is dilapidated and seems to be completely dead. None of the footpaths are maintained and the weeds have worked their ways into every crevice. You notice carelessly dumped fast food packages, beer bottles and other trash. Some of the narrow side streets between the houses are so crammed with bulky trash that you wouldn't be able to walk along them. Many of the houses are in poor state of repair, cracked windows, loose wooden boards hanging off the walls and doors nailed shut. It's impossible to tell in which color the houses were originally painted. You're struck by a bad stench several times, the cause of which you would rather not investigate. As you keep walking, you get to a kind of shopping street with a number of small shops. Half of them seems to be abandoned. The first shop on the corner is a snack bar. Its name, Joe's Pizza and Burger. It's printed in big letters on individual sheets of paper. Right next to it, there's a shop of fishing gear, then a hairdresser just a few doors down. In that shop window, you can see faded photos of the trendiest haircuts that the 1970s had to offer. Behind the hairdresser, you can make out a kiosk selling sweets and magazines, and also a liquor store wedged in between two empty buildings. Opposite, you find a shop whose name seems to be the Son? Judging by the window, it's a music store. At the other end of the street, there is a building with the inscription Arcades. The letters are made from neon tubes, but some appear to have burnt out and have never been replaced. So Arkham Arcades, probably then? Maybe some of the shopkeepers will be able to tell you more about your client. Apart from these, the shopping street doesn't have much else to offer. Faded wooden signs sway gently in the wind and identify one shop as a bookstore, another as a DIY store. The shop windows are boarded up. As you approach the barber shop, you first wonder if it's permanently closed. What you initially thought was a reflection of light is actually dirt. Are there no hygiene inspectors in this town? The chime of the doorbell is the only greeting as you step through the door. The shop seems abandoned and a thick layer of dust has settled on the chairs and upright hair dryers. A lime pattern adorns the wash bins and floor. Looks like some water damage that no one cared enough about to sort out. Just as you begin to wonder why this store was open at all, you hear it, a peaceful snore. Careful not to lean on the dusty counter, you try to make out the source of the snoring. In a rather uncomfortable twisted position, a man in his 60s is lying on the ground with his head propped up on a shelf. Has he fallen off his chair? Has he injured himself? The man opens his eyes and you quickly dart back, but you're sure that he spotted you already. A hand slams on the counter and soon the gentleman attached to the hand gets up. With the embarrassment of a gentleman who has fallen asleep during a gala dinner, the shopkeeper adjusts his glasses and hair. He stares at you in disbelief. "What do you want?" Ask about the missing girl. You're actually not that interested in what's happened here, so you get straight to the point. You get out the Polaroid. "I'm looking for a missing girl. Tabitha Marsh?" The man glances at the picture, then at you. His right eye starts twitching uncontrollably and he hisses at you. "What do you want from me?" "Maybe this isn't a good time?" "Ask for a haircut." "Well, why do people go to the barber?" you say carefully. The barber gasps for air and lifts himself a few more inches. You want me to cut your hair?" The guy is a bit too excited for your taste, but he seems to have found some sense of purpose. "Of course." "Goodness, if only you hadn't entered this store." The barber claps his hands and hurries over to the sink to prepare it for the hair wash. You take off your hat and run your hands through your locks. You take a seat in the chair in front of the not quite so clean sink. Mr. Baldwin puts a cloth over your shoulders. You lean your head back into the sink and after some height adjustments, you even manage to get into a relaxing position. You feel a stream of warm water on your scalp and hear a slight humming from the tap. Your hair is very well groomed. What would you like me to do today? Just trim the tips, please. It's too late to turn around now. You try to make the best of it. Just a trim, please. Very well. After the shampoo treatment, you can feel the conditioner being massaged into your scalp. It feels good. You're beginning to enjoy it. After your hair is completely clean, Mr. Baldwin rubs it dry with a towel and asks you to sit on one of the chairs in front of the mirrors. The old barber sits down on the swivel chair and puts on old-fashioned fabric protector over your shoulders. He starts brushing your hair. Maybe a little small talk will loosen the guy up. "And what else have you done today besides sleep on the floor?" Your head is moved forward with a jerky movement. You can't tell whether this was intentional or not. "Please let me focus." With firm pressure, he tilts your head lightly. The barber probably has other worries than responding to your half-hearted, rather offensive attempts at conversation. Nearly done, the barber solemnly sorts out a few last strands of hair. With a content smile, he holds a small mirror to the back of your head. In front of you, in the large mirror, you admire your well-groomed hairstyle. Admire his work. You crane your head back and forth to admire yourself in the mirror. "Wonderful, skillful, perfect." "Oh, you," the hairdresser interrupts you. "You know we don't think much of stranger hairs in Innsmouth. Why, you're one of the finest people I've ever met." His hand lightly squeezed your shoulder. Then he removes the fabric protector so you can stand up. You take another look at yourself, then you put your hat back on. Mr. Baldwin is already standing behind his counter, typing into his old register. The sounds of the key rings like music through the old dusty shop. You can briefly picture what life must have been like here when business was still flourishing. "That'll be $25. Mr. Baldwin hands you the receipt with a polite smile. Your eyes start to water slightly as you count your loose bills in your jacket pocket. The old man thanks you and puts your money into the undoubtedly empty till. His hand strokes the counter, ponders the dust on his fingers. "I really should clean up sometime." He wipes off the dust on the edge of the counter and as a goodbye smiles at you apologetically. Time to move on. The chime of the doorbell bids you farewell. You need to decide which shop to enter. When you enter the snack bar, you are struck by the unappetizing smell of fat. Behind the counter is a gaunt teenager who looks like he's bored out of his mind. A name tag identifies him as Chud. Chud is wearing a stained white apron splashed with fat and other substances. His face is haunted by the most gruesome acne you've ever seen. He turns to you and stares at a spot somewhere on the wall behind you. After a few moments of annoyed silence, Chud asks, "What do you want to order?" "Do school kids ever come by here?" Chud is obviously not interested in a conversation. "That's a really strange question." "Do you know this girl?" You're holding the photo of Tabitha up to Chud. "She's gone missing and I'm looking for her." He looks at the picture with indifference. "Are you going to order anything or not?" "What do you do for pleasure here in Innsmouth? The city isn't big. Where do kids go for fun?" "Dunno, man. There's a little girl. I don't know where they hang out." Chad behaves very much like someone who was a child not too long ago but attaches great importance to not being one any longer. You estimate that he's around 16 or 17. "Where do you see other kids that hang in town?" "Little brats hang around in the arcades most of the time. Maybe they know about her there." Come on, isn't there anything else you can tell me?" But Chud's no longer in the mood for your question. In spite of further follow-ups, you don't get anything out of him. The whole issue seems to be extremely irrelevant to him. He breaks off the conversation under the pretext of having to clean the kitchen. You watch him for a few minutes while he tries to remember where the cleaning equipment is, but you doubt that there is any. You decide to leave the store. You leave Joe's Pizza and Burger. Continue to the arcade. The game's arcade is hard to miss. At the end of the dead shopping street, a shrill neon sign draws attention to itself. You think it looks rather retro, although the people of Innsmouth will probably think it's state-of-the-art design. As you approach, familiar sound starts ringing in your ears. A heady mix of cheaply produced gun sound effects and mysterious sounds from pinball machines. This cocktail of synth effects gives you a jolt of nostalgia. Happy memories flood your brain. Your first beat-em-up game when your opponent, a super limber septuagenarian yoga dude who played the boxer, ripped you apart, and all those exciting moments when you managed to win. The few tourist families who have ventured into the city center with you were all dragged in here by their excited children. Now you too pass through the gates to the realm of the flashing lights and bad ventilation. It's extremely dark and the screens of the devices appear to be the only light source. Families, slackers, group of teenagers and individual children crowd together in front of screens to catch a glimpse of the games that are currently being played or to have a shot at playing them themselves. The arcade is smaller than the elaborate archway initially suggested, but the equipment is not so bad for a small coastal town. Everything is beeping and flashing. No matter how tempting it may be, you don't have time to enjoy yourself now. Tabitha might be one of the children running around here. Your gaze passes over the rows of younger players, but like a moth drawn to light, your attention is pulled in again and again by the machines. Your resolve crumbles. All work and no play makes Jack a dull boy. No one will mind if you play for a few minutes. One of the most important lessons you have learned, not from your own cases but from television, is to look out for the small things. Only an absolute beginner would ignore the slot machines and look for the missing gold straight away. You, on the other hand, are playing the long game. Maybe you'll see her name token on one of the high score tables. Maybe you'll be able to improve your own reflexes, toughen yourself and steel your nerves by playing a few rounds. A little girl is missing, but you'd rather play a round of computer games. But don't worry, no one will ever find out. How often will you return to Innsmouth, you ask yourself? The answer, of course, is hopefully never again. So you might as well make the most of it and try to leave new high scores for posterity. Fantastic! Who would have thought that you'd come across one of your favorite games here in Hicksville? Shooter games obviously cost more money, but the graphics are the best. The pixel blood sprays abundantly, and you can shoot at the screen with neon plastic weapons. Annoyingly, this is where the most people are queuing. It will take a while until it's your turn, but from what you can see on the screens, you're sure it'll be worth it. Your choice is Mason of the Unliving. In Mason of the Unliving, scientists in a secret research lab under a house have been experimenting with a dangerous zombie virus. So, Resident Evil. Then, when the virus is accidentally let loose and all employees are turned into an army of the undead, it's up to you, the cleaner, to save the world by offing all of them. Sure. Mason of the Unliving. A good choice. The target demographic is a lot more alternative than that of the other games. Black t-shirts, black cargo pants, black beanies. In your brown trench coat, you stand out like a sore thumb from the rest of the gamer crowd. And you're also thrice or four times the age of most of the people queuing. Right in front of you is a child who only reaches up to your hip. Hey you proud little child, a boy with red hair peeking out from under his beanie. You prod the little child. A boy with red hair peeking out from under his beanie turns around and looks at you. How old are you? You ask, trying desperately not to sound too much like a creepy adult. Why do you care? He says and rolls his eyes. You elbow the next person in line in the ribs. His friend also turns around and is wearing a boats and hose cap and some golden chains around his neck. You feel overwhelmed just by looking at this too. You point at the boy's cap. Boats and hose? Do you know what that means? The boy's jaw drops, but his friends come to the rescue. What's your problem, man? He's wearing hip-hop merch but hasn't even gone through puberty. What do you two squirts know about the hard life of a gangster? What do you know about it? The boy asks in a high-pitched voice and adjusts his cap. I'm a private detective. You say, almost impressing yourself with how cool this sounds. The two kids exchange glances, which you also interpret as impressed. The smaller one asks, "Do you have a gun?" His tone is slightly wary, but also inquisitive. No, I'm not really that kind of PI. The boy frowns. What kind of private detective are you? I've only recently started my business and I'm assembling a database of potential clients before going for big cases. First getting some field experience, if you know what I mean. The two boys look at you if they're just bitten into a lemon. That's BS. Sounds to me if you're deluding yourself and your business simply isn't taking off, as if you can confront reality. The two shrug and turn back to the game. That's currently running. Stupid kids, at least you don't have to look at their stupid faces anymore. After a few players are knocked out, it's your turn. Quicker than you thought, you put all your coins into the machine. Your hands clasp the black plastic gun. It feels good. The screen goes black. The slogan, Mason of the Unliving, flashes up. Then the intro of the game starts playing. Lovingly crafted camera work shows some polygon figure which tells the plot of the game. The message, pull trigger to skip, keeps flashing up from time to time. Keep watching. Headquarters of Parasol Corps. Yeah, Umbrella Corps, really. A healthcare company. After a disappointing second quarter, shareholders demand some drastic measures such as redundancies or the opening of new markets to increase the dividends. Who would have thought that the developers of a zombie shooter would actually take the story seriously? You're genuinely curious about where all of this is going, but there's resistance behind you. Boring, someone cries. Hey, you got to pull the trigger, then it will skip. Apparently, the people all around you are not interested in watching the intro. Keep watching. You try to hush the people behind you. The video keeps playing. The camera zooms into a white conference room in which pixelated people gesticulate wildly with their arms. In order to appease their shareholders, Parasol Corp expands its research into Did it say influence vaccine? Must have said influenza. A white block appears. It looks like it's supposed to be a building. In front of its doors there are some blobs who seem to be holding signs up into the air. The process is made difficult due to regular staff strikes. There are lengthy negotiations with the unions. It's much calmer behind you now. The first tests are very promising, the voiceover continues. The first test of the vaccine happens during influenza season, and batches of vaccines are delivered to doctors' offices and hospitals. Please kill me, someone in the crowd says, but another person shushes him. Graphs fill the screen, lots of graphs. The annual budget shows initial positive trends, but because of the research investments, profits are still low. Parasol Corp breaks even. Union signals their willingness to compromise in order to keep jobs. I really hope they're going to make it. My dad lost his job last year and we lost the house, a young boy next to you says. Oh man, I'm so sorry, says someone else in the crowd. There are now barely any impatient comments from your audience. It seems as if no one has ever let the intro of this game play to the end. Stock exchange developments are more graphs, resolving the conflict with the unions. The voiceover calmly reports how Parasol Corp manages to become financially sound again and slowly turns into a market-leading health company. It engages in social projects, provides jobs, and supports the economy. The whole audience now contemplates in silence. Lots to chew on here, and you even think that you've learned some new things about business plans and economic strategies. The intro reaches its final part. A lab assistant accidentally knocks over a sealed test tube, and its greenish content spreads out on the lab floor. Then everyone turns into zombies. Well, that was a bit disappointing, someone murmurs behind you. Indeed, compared with the carefully researched background of Parasol Corp, the part with the zombies seems sloppy. The intro fades and the game continues. Bloody lettering splatters onto the screen and let you know about your mission. Level 1, survive. Is that all? With nothing but a handgun, your character stands in a seemingly endless corridor. Hordes of roaring zombies come at you. Yeah, yes! Your audience is visibly excited about the upcoming battle for survival. You shoot at the pixelated heads, and those enemies you've hit slowly turn transparent and vanish. You seem to have endless ammunition, and you only need to shoot outside of the screen to reload. Oh, cool. After what feels like 100 kills, you start to feel bored. Why weren't there a queue for this machine? Your motivation to stay alive dwindles rapidly, and it is being replaced with the desire to do something useful, maybe even solve your case. The zombies overrun you, and wordlessly you hand the plastic gun to the next player. As you move out of the line, you cannot believe your eyes. In front of you stands Tabitha Marsh. She waves at you excitedly, her bug eyes sparkling. You're the first player who looked at the story. Now I finally know how Parasol Corp started. Many people don't really pay much attention to the story in games. Words fail you. Grab her. Talk to Tabitha. So as not to scare the girl, you gently sink down to your knees. Tabitha, your mother has asked me to bring you home. The girl scrunches up her face. What? My name isn't Tabitha. Show her the photo? You find the Polaroid you were given by the mother and show it to her. Oh, where did you get that? Your mother gave it to me. She is very concerned about you, misses you a lot. What do you mean? I've only been gone from home for an hour. Confused, she looks at the photo of herself. Sorry, what? It's difficult to tell the girl's age. The shape of her head suggests she might be suffering from a kind of illness that impacts on her growth. Is she confused or simply in a difficult phase of puberty? What's your real name? The girl smiles. I'm Evelyn. Visibly uneasy, the girl nods. I shouldn't be here anyway. Finally, you found the girl. Now you only need to pick up your reward and then you can finally leave this dump of a place and relax at home. Evelyn starts making her way outside, passing by other families and their children. Luckily, no one seems to suspect anything untowards is happening, and you finally reach the exit. Okay, off to... You flip the Polaroid over for the address and that Dahlia had noted down on its back. 43 Shoggoth Avenue. The girl shakes her head. That's the wrong address. Wrong? What do you mean wrong? Why would your mother give me the wrong address? The girl rolls her eyes. I don't know. Can we go now? Our house is not that far from here. You should have foreseen that it wouldn't be that easy. Follow. If her real address is somewhere close, it should be easy enough to find out whether she's lying or not. You give in and put the Polaroid back in your coat pocket. Okay, you lead the way. Evelyn is visibly relieved. She points at the little side street you hadn't noticed before. The little girl is leading you across town. When you read the street name, Riley Road, you realize that you are on the way to the northern part of the city. Had you followed the address that Dahlia left you, you would have ended up in the completely different area. The other end of town, to be exact. You wonder what would have awaited you there. Death? Evelyn strides ahead purposefully into the area in which she claims to live. Apart from the two of you, there is no one else on the streets. Although it's only late afternoon, but you can sense that you are not alone. The curtains in the windows of the surrounding houses are constantly moving. The streets are getting narrower and narrower. Good thing you don't suffer from claustrophobia. Evelyn isn't speaking. Nothing wrong with clearing up a few things while you're walking. Hey, listen. Evelyn slows down and looks at you expectantly. Why does your mother think you've gone missing? The girl's face falls and she looks back down at the footpath. I don't know. That was too direct, it seems. She's clearly hiding something, but your question has scared her off. While she keeps leading you along the road, you wonder how you can coax something out of her. Here we are, but now you've left the narrow alleys of Old Town and you're standing in front of a wonky metal fence. Behind it, an old-fashioned mansion on a little hill. A surprisingly grand property, considering that in the rest of the town, people appear to live like sardines. Evelyn and you stand there for a little while. Are your parents rich? Do your parents own the town? Is your family rich? You try to ask casually. If only you had known that Dahlia was stinking rich, you would have charged more for this whole case. Maybe that's still an option. My family inherited a lot, but that's a long time ago, she says absent-mindedly. Right, shall we go in? Evelyn nods bravely. She fishes around in her pockets and gets out a small set of keys with two shiny golden keys. She takes the larger one of the two and puts it in the lock of the gate. A bit rusty, she says apologetically. Despite the fact that she must have opened the gate many times, Evelyn needs a few attempts to finally open it. After it finally makes a loud clicking sound, the girl pushes down the massive door handle and the gate swings open. The gravel makes a crunching sound under your shoes. You've made it halfway to the house when you start to consider a few things. In a few seconds you will see Dahlia Marsh again. Duplicitous Dahlia Marsh. A shiver runs down your spine. Evelyn is already walking up the stairs to the porch and is nearly at the door. Wait a second. Your sixth sense of danger and unpleasant conversation has been triggered. Wait a moment, you say, just when Evelyn is about to put the key in the door. The hand with the set of keys drops and she turns around with a surprised expression on her face. Your mind is racing, even by your standards. What is it that you want? Ah, never mind, let's just go inside. You can't really think of what you wanted to say, and there's the matter of collecting the bonus for solving the case. Ah, never mind, let's go inside. Evelyn nods. The girl puts the second key of the covenant into the lock and turns it around. The door opens with a creak. The beams of the walls grow deeply and menacingly, as if you were standing in front of the mouth of a lion. Evelyn gropes for something in the darkness. You can hear a soft click, and the corridor is flooded with light. The entrance area of the house alone offers so much space that a smaller house could fit inside. A wide white lacquered staircase leads up to the higher floor. Your steps are commented on by groaning floorboards. Mother? The little girl cries loudly into the house. The clinking of glass, the accelerating sound of high heels. A light goes on in the room next door, and shortly afterwards the door is open wide. The backlight gives Dahlia March's face a demonic features. When her gaze falls on her daughter, her eyes reflect anger. When she sees you, horror. I wonder if all mothers in Innsmouth react in this way when they are reunited with their lost daughters. You! Case solved, ma'am. The expression of outright horror is still on Dahlia's face, while the little girl looks up worried at her mother. Dahlia holds her hand in front of her mouth, an antiquated gesture which reminds you of old films in which men had strange beards and women wore corsets. She recovers herself quickly, and then an affected smile spreads on her lips. How nice to see you. Before you can reply anything, she kneels down gracefully and gently ruffles her daughter's hair. There you are, Angel. Are you okay? Evelyn nods, but she's not actually said anything ever since you've entered the house. Dahlia seems to be satisfied with this response. Apparently completely recovered from her initial shock, she gets up and gives you a dazzling smile. Dinner is almost ready. Why don't you stay so we can discuss everything else? Her smile is tense. I'm sorry, but I don't have much time. I just want to leave. You can do without any more answers from your shady client. She's visibly disappointed by this. Oh, well, in that case, why don't you accompany me to the safe? She turns to her daughter. Darling, go to your room. We'll talk later. The girl nods and rushes up the stairs. Dahlia now walks over to the room she came from and leaves the door open for you to follow. I'm getting the money from the safe. Why don't you join me? Stay in the hall. You'd rather stay where you are. That's okay, I'll just wait here, you call after her. She walks off, the tick-tock of her heels echoing on the wooden floorboards. You could swear that you can hear voices from the adjoining room. One of the voices is Dahlia's, and the other one sounds very similar. You can't make out what they're saying, though, and before too long the whispering stops and Dahlia comes back. She holds out an envelope and purses her lips. You stow away the money in the inside pocket of your coat. Now that we've got all the formalities out of the way, I was wondering whether you'd be able to answer a few of my questions, Dahlia. Dahlia folds her arms, and the smile she gives you doesn't reach her eyes. I'll do my best. Why did you tell me your daughter's name was Tabitha? You asked me to find your daughter, but gave me a false name? You couldn't have made it more difficult for me if you tried. Oh no, you got that all wrong. Tabitha is Evelyn's middle name, and you did have a photo of her. Nestsipa's middle name. The girl did not say anything about that. She's now in her room, and your gut tells you that Dahlia won't let her anywhere near you again. So many questions have been going around in your head ever since you arrived, but now that you're face to face with your client, you don't even know where to start. Something simple, perhaps. Why did you give me an incorrect address? Oh, I'd already forgotten about that. You notice that Dahlia's hands keep fidgeting. She keeps rubbing her palms and massaging her fingers. It seems that she's not used to these kinds of confrontation. Actually, this is the address of a good friend of mine where I spend most of my days, especially when my little one is at school. You could say I spend more time there than in my own house. She smiles apologetically. There are so many questions that have been going around in your head ever since you arrived, but now that you're face to face, you can feel with your client, you don't even know where to start. You can feel the envelope full of cash in your coat pocket. You've only been in Innsmouth for a few hours and you're already sick of it. Never mind, you say hesitantly. She smiles a little less fake this time. The prospect of being rid of you soon seems to brighten her day. With these last words, you turn around and open the door to the outside. As you make your way to the front gate, pebbles crunching under your feet, you turn around one last time. You just catch a last glimpse of Dahlia closing the door. There was definitely a satisfied smile on her lips, you think? You don't like this at all. The smile is cold and dark, but you can't figure out why you would think that. What game is she playing? At least you can now put some distance between the two of you, and that's all that matters. You're on your way, but you're still pondering this. Oh, and now we're back. You wander the streets. Yeah, you're lost. Stay in the shadows. Knock on a door. Try another door. Okay, let's see. Tea sounds good, especially after a day like today. The linen bag at your feet is still writhing back and forth as if possessed by the devil. After careful consideration, you decide. Carefully roll it into the pit. Mindful not to touch the still writhing bag, you push it carefully into the excavated pit. It actually did feel as if quite a few small animals were frantically running around in the bag. Old Ethel was obviously telling the truth. Life is a happy song, and you shovel the heaped up soil back into the pit. You make an effort to distribute the previously exposed bones into the soil with authentic regularity. You want to leave everything the way you found it. Then your work is done. The moment you ram the shovel into the ground, lightning strikes over Innsmouth, followed by a crashing roll of thunder. Better go inside. Inside the hut, you follow a trail of tea lights that guide you back to the living room like a landing strip. Ethel comes out of a room that you hadn't even noticed before. "Here is my little guest room. I hope you like it. Tea is nearly ready." After thanking Ethel for her hospitality, you disappear into the small room to recover from the exertion of digging. Although the guest room is also lit by nothing other than candles, it's cozier than the rest of the house. This is probably due to the light-colored wallpaper, which is covering the rotten wood. The evening is lovely, delicious tea and cookies with Ethel and a warm bed. You're sleeping great. In the morning, Ethel has prepared a huge breakfast for you, and the first sun rays of the day bathe the house, which seemed so creepy last night in a soft light. It's crazy how perception can play such tricks on you. When you leave her house and wave goodbye, you realize something. It occurs to you that Ethel is an awful animal abuser. Keep waving. You just keep waving and try to suppress the memory of dead ferrets. God, this town is the worst. It's a Sunday morning with no shady patrols and frog-like creatures lurking in the shadows. Every now and then you have thoughts like "nice place" or not so terrible" creep up on you. The sunshine helps definitely. A front of grey clouds is already lurking on the horizon, but the bright morning hours ease the paranoia from last night. What also helps is the fact that not a soul is out and about. If you looked like the people from Innsmouth, you'd probably also only venture out at night. With these musings, you walk through the old town and back to the city center. It doesn't take you long until you stand in front of the bus that will take you and a handful of villagers back to Boston. It didn't go so badly. Months later, Boston, 13th of November. The first rays of sun caress your cheeks. A good day indeed. Even the traffic right outside your bedroom is moderate today, at least for this early time of the day. Thanks to your successful work at Innsmouth, you can afford to be at the office a little later. Dahlia did give you a big bonus that should sort you out for at least 6 months. If you handle things in the right way now and manage to get follow-up cases, you should be financially stable in no time. A smile sneaks onto your face when you think about your trip to Innsmouth. A bunch of odd characters, no doubt, but that's just what country folk are like. You already missed the sea breeze. Maybe another weekend trip to that little seaside town is in order soon. Living like high society on a shoestring budget, then you might also be able to try those fish delicacies you've been dreaming about. With a yawn, you bury your head back in your pillow. Just a few more minutes. Hey, innocents, clueless, you escaped from Innsmouth. All in all, a nice weekend. Okay, why didn't they kill me though? Like when we were at her house. Why wouldn't she kill me? Yeah, so we got 1, 2, 3, 4 endings. Let's see if we load it. Yeah. Yeah, sure. Brilliant idea. Your brain is running at full speed while complimenting itself for its ingenuity. A good day indeed. With a rock. Of course you're going to use a rock. You're not completely stupid. You look around on the ground for a suitable stone. Found it! You lift up your tool and weigh it in your hands. Not too dirty. Good grip. Perfect. You look around the parking lot one last time to make sure you're by yourself. You aim and smash the stone right into the window. The window breaks and splinters. That was loud. Hopefully no one will have heard that. You peek inside the driver's cabin. Suddenly the smell of stale old grease creeps up your nostrils. On the floor of the passenger seat there's a scrunched brown paper bag with the logo of a fast food chain. A paper cup rests on the dashboard. Where are the traces of kidnapped children? You get the feeling that you're wasting your time, and you don't want to be caught in a smashed up vehicle that doesn't belong to you. Luckily, the parking lot and the nearby street seems to be completely deserted. You stayed in a parking lot long enough. Sure, let's do that again. This time. Sure. Be able to one night. View of your room, a wink wink. Yes, at 6 a.m. No, damn it. As deeply as my feelings for you. Maybe tonight I won't be by myself. Wink wink. I have a goldfish. Al knows. Do you like going to the steam room? Okay. 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 Initiative is just one of your many great qualities. You unlock the door. In your mind, you're still trying to come up with excuses in case there is someone in the room, but only one glance at the state of the room is enough to dispel these worries. The room is completely dark, not because the shutters are drawn, but because all the windows are plastered with several layers of newspaper clippings. Did a paranoid FBI agent stay here? The smell of something that's been lying in the sun for far too long creeps into your nostrils. All of this has intrigued you even more. You flip the light switch and shut the door behind you. 2 of the 3 ceiling lamps have burned out. The remaining bulb is flickering and doing its best. With every step you take, your shoes come off the floor with a squelching sound. You don't even want to know what's sticking to the floor. What a mess. Dented cans lie scattered on the floor. The many pieces of paper scattered on the floor give the room the air of a snowy landscape, if only it didn't smell so disgustingly. Next to the bed, a pile of empty plastic boxes is piled up and a swarm of flies is buzzing around it. One wall is paved with newspaper clippings, notes, and photos. Whoever lives here has spared no efforts to create a complex web of places, names, and events. Colorful threads connect almost all the pinned notes with one another. Are you staring at the life's work of a conspiracy theorist? You stroll through the room, opening drawers here and there, but all the cupboards are empty. A few pieces of clothing lie scattered on the floor. At first, you're not quite sure if they belong to a man or a woman. The shirts are plain, but appear to be tightly fitted. Then you discover a bra. Interesting. You look around. Look at the wall. Photos of well-known buildings have been pasted onto the map. A skull and crossbones scribbled over the area you recognize as the town center. Strange. Isn't this a tourist spot? A few more skulls have been scribbled on the apartment buildings in intermittent intervals. In the harbor area where the village church is located, the word cult is written. The lighthouse has been circled vigorously with a black pen. 2 exclamation marks have been scratched into the map right next to it. Your gaze wanders across the map and the photos that have been pinned all over the map and the surrounding wallpaper. Your stomach cramps up when you suddenly see Dahlia Marsh's icy smile look down on you from one of the newspaper clippings. Annoyingly, the text is missing. You would have liked to know why her picture was in the newspaper. Looks like the corresponding newspaper has already been discarded. There's no other useful clue, just trash and bits of paper. Damn it, truly irresponsible. These people who think that no one ever gets to see their paranoia walls. Oh, snoop through the abandoned hotel room. Take some? You grab one of the pieces of paper lying around the sideboard. Carefully, you unfold the scrunched up paper so that the piece doesn't rip and you can still read the writing. A Polaroid picture falls out. It must have been stashed here in between the pages. You pick it up and you're not really sure what you were expecting, but you weren't expecting that. It's Tabitha Marsh. It's not simply Tabitha Marsh. It's the exact same photo you have in your possession. Yeah, so it's another PI that she hired to get here to probably get killed. Hastily, you fish it out of your coat pocket. You place the 2 pictures next to one another, and indeed, both pictures are identical. How is that even possible with Polaroid pictures? On the back of the photo, Dahlia's address has been noted down in a spindly handwriting. However, whoever drove that van must also have been looking for Tabitha. You wonder if this was your predecessor. A private investigator who has thrown in the towel. You almost forgot about the piece out of paper from which the Polaroid had fallen. You recognize the handwriting. It's the same that has noted down the address. Thanks for an incredible night. We must repeat it. Dahlia's handwriting. You sit down on the bed, your eyes still on the note. Your detective instincts is kicking in. Usually it's just lying around in a corner of your subconscious all day, mostly hungover, but it's wide awake now. If Dahlia hired this detective before you, it could only have been a few days ago. Tabitha must have been missing only for a day or two, and her mother flirts with the first investigator she meets? She made eyes at you too, your subconscious tells you. Obviously, you didn't make as good an impression on her as your predecessor did. You knock on the door and announce yourself loudly. No one seems to be in. Lucky. Hard to say what would have been more awkward to acknowledge, your presence or the utter mess all around. You flip the light switch, guided only by the shine of a flickering light bulb. You step into the bathroom. The air is cold and wet. The bathtub is filled to the brim with water, and there are cosmetic products scattered all over the sink. Doesn't look like anyone actually took a bath though. The water is clean and clear. A bottle of shampoo and shower gel stands ready on a little stool next to the bathtub. Their caps are still shut though. You dunk your hand in the water. It's ice cold. The dirt and the takeaway boxes were a first indication, but now there's no doubt in your mind. Whoever stayed here, lived here, had to leave the room very quickly indeed. There are lots of cosmetic products scattered around the sink. There are definitely more than you brought with you. Someone was expecting to stick around for longer. There's still so much to do and time is running out for you. You leave the bathroom and wonder where else you could keep looking for clues. Enough, you've seen plenty. With deliberately careful steps you maneuver the obstacle course of bits of paper, clothes and scrunched up aluminum balls and leave the room. You pocket the key. You can always have a think later about what you're going to do with it. Okay, let's rest. Your hand glides over the tightly pulled bedspread. No dust. That's a good sign, right? You carefully sit down on the edge of the bed, just to make sure the mattress doesn't explode upon contact. You're delighted that there's no explosion. You take off your coat and shoes, then stretch out on the bed. A mild but all-encompassing pain that you hadn't even noticed before melts off your spine. Everything is warm and pleasant. You feel free and weightless. Young people call this a power nap. You close your eyes for 10 minutes, then you'll be ready for the rest of the day. Sounds completely convincing. You close your eyes and snooze away. You transition fluidly into your dreams. You've only just closed your eyes and you're already somewhere else. Suddenly, your worries are very different. You're running in a desolate grey maze of winding alleys. You can hear the cheerful laughter of a small child. If only you could catch up. You could save the child and take them home to safety. You sprint down the path and turn around the corner, then around another. The alleyway stretches out in front of you. There's no person to be seen anywhere. What was that? Was that a shadow at the corner of the street back there? The silhouette of a figure? You realize that someone is following you. You cast a hasty glance over your shoulder, then you see them out of the corner of your eye. Shadows, but they have repugnant bodies. You can't really put it any differently. You catch glimpses of oily skin, swollen boils and even tentacles, but nothing stays in one place. Everything seems to be constantly moving around. A body in metamorphosis. Patches of skin tear open and close again with awful smacking sounds. You briefly catch a glimpse of the thing that was following you silently. You know you've already seen more than you should have. That short glance was more than enough. No human being can stand looking at this creature without completely losing their mind. It's right behind you. The figure in the distance has already disappeared behind the corner. Maybe you can still catch up with it. The alleys wind through the town. The alleys wind through the town in confusing ways. Nothing makes sense anymore. Wherever you move, you never arrive in the place you expected to. It feels as if, slowly but surely, you're walking right into the jaws of a massive monster. All of a sudden, the walls close in, and close in on you, and the path becomes so narrow that you have to walk sideways in order to fit through. Whatever is behind you is getting closer. There's not much time left. Face the creature. There's no point in following this endless labyrinth forever. With bated breath, you turn around and look down the street you just came from in order to face whatever is pursuing you. No matter how hard you try, your eyes refuse to look directly at it. The tentacled meatball right in front of you seems to be only a small outgrowth of the much larger but also shapeless and impossible creature that is following you. You begin to despair. Look at it directly. It wasn't so bad after all, you thought when you opened your eyes. Ooh. Panting, you wake up. In one panicked movement, you throw the blanket off the bed. What a nightmare. At least it's over now. Your room is still plunged into the greenish light from the moon. It's still in the middle of the night. Sleep is out of the question for now. Look out the window. You approach the window. Even from a distance, the light of the moon blinds you. Everything is bathed in an unreal green shimmer. The stately houses across the hotel, the neglected, wildly growing hedges on the sidewalk, the mob armed with torches looking up into your room. The what? They're staring up at you. It's hard to tell who these hooded people are. Without wanting to be prejudiced, you assume that they are the good citizens of Innsmouth. Some of the figures point with the torches to your room on the higher floor. Then they limp towards the hotel entrance. You briefly wonder if these kind of people might know anything about missing children. You take flight. With your heart pounding, you grab your trench coat and tiptoe to the door. Enough time wasted. The carpet fortunately muffles most of your steps. Only now and then a rotten floorboard gives a telltale sign. You rush down the hall until you get to the fork. You take the way to the abandoned room. Of course, you still have the key to the room that was left in a hurry. Either the guest has returned there or it is still empty. That gives you either an ally or shelter. You can already hear voices come from some of the corridors when you finally stand in front of room 237. The faraway voices sound like they're chanting. With trembling hands, you put the key into the lock and open the door. Despite the darkness, you realize at once that the room is empty and has not yet been cleaned. You're alone. With bated breath, you sink to the floor with your back against the door. After about a minute, you hear the footsteps of the stranger. It seems as if they're searching the corridors. They are looking for you. A cold shiver goes down your spine. You're still not quite sure what these people want from you, but under these circumstances, you're not willing to take any risk. Even though you plan to keep watch for the rest of the night, you eventually doze off. When morning comes, you curse softly. In your sleep, you must have twisted yourself into an unnatural position. Your vertebrae crack alarmingly as you return to a more upright position. Then it's dawn. Oh, welcome to the Hotel Massachusetts. Then it's dawn. In a haze, you walk into the bathroom and change. Your face in a mirror above the sink looks like it's aged by many years. You walk through the corridors, then down the stairs to the foyer. You give Mr. Gilman the key.
I hope you had a pleasant night in our hotel. Very nice of you to bring back the key. Would you be so kind as to fill out our questionnaire?
With a stiff smile, he hands you a sheet of paper and pen. You fill it in. You roll your eyes pointedly, but then you start to fill in the form truthfully. Apart from current personal details, would you recommend the Gilman Hotel to your friends? How satisfied were you with our service? Was there always a contact person available for you? You whistle quietly, the nerve of him. You'd love to ask Mr. Gilman questions about everything that went on last night, but an instinct that usually prefers to sleep advises you to get out of there while you can. None of the holiday makers that you met around town yesterday are anywhere to be seen on your way back. The bus leaving Innsmouth for Boston is already waiting for you. It seems to be just waiting for you and a handful of disfigured villagers. Not a single tourist is among the travelers. They were probably much smarter than you and all arrived by car. When the old bus starts to move, you decide to stop thinking about it. You jerk awake, only the pale moonlight steeps through the blinds of your apartment. It must be very late in the night. You're soaked in sweat, as per usual. You sit up on the edge of the bed and try to calm down. You're safe, you're at home. You've managed to put an end to their schemes, the kidnappings and all the lies. You've escaped, but you're still under the spell of Innsmouth. Ooh, a bad feeling. You returned to Boston. You did everything you could. Oh. Okay, well, I think I will leave it there so that other people can also play it if they want. Anyone watching, if you want, there's still several endings. There are a lot of endings, so yeah, I've only gotten 5 right, 4 or 5. So yeah, I think we will end it there. So thank you so much for being here and watching my playthrough of the Innsmouth case. And I'll see you in whatever next I do. Bye!